Sunday, the 19th of March 2023. You're welcome to this special edition of CRTV News, breaking news following yesterday's flood that hit the town of BUEA, southwest region. We had a flash flood yesterday triggered by heavy downpour. We were told that washed off cascades of rocks and debris from the mountain down to the town of BUEA. Remember, BUEA is at the foot of Mount Cameroon, causing heavy floods that destroyed properties. For this far, we are told that one person is confirmed dead. Well, for 1 hour or so, we will be talking about that unfortunate incident. We will be having our Southwest regional correspondents from BUEA in both English and French. We will also be having the mayor of BUEA, Barrister David Mafani Namangue, and probably, why not, we will probably be having the governor if time permits. Well, I'm here with Cathy Toulé-Langa. Bonjour, Cathy.
Bonjour, Clarence Gay, bonjour à tous et merci d'être avec nous sur CRTV News pour cette édition spéciale consacrée à ce sinistre qui a touché la capitale régionale du Sud-Ouest, BUEA, est sous les eaux depuis hier soir à la suite d'une inondation qui a littéralement touché de nombreux quartiers. C'est le cas de Moliko, Boyaton ou encore Mouéa. Et ces quartiers donc qui ont reçu les déchets ménagers issus des différents domiciles, mais également tous les déchets provenant de la montagne. On va voir ce matin quel est l'état d'esprit de la population, comment la population de BUEA s'est réveillée ce matin et surtout que s'est-il exactement passé. Comme vous le savez, la météorologie a prévu évidemment que nous soyons dans une période de crue. Ce mois de mars, c'est le cas à Yaoundé, mais également dans la région du Sud-Ouest. Nous allons tenter d'avoir nos correspondants dans cette partie du Cameroun, mais je vous propose déjà cet élément que nous avons pu regarder dans le journal de 20h30 qui nous situe exactement sur cet événement.
Les habitants sont encore dans la consternation suite à des énormes dégâts de cette inondation. Des quartiers tels que BUEA Town, Babouti, Bonalionga, Moliko, Bondouma et Mounia ont été sérieusement touchés. Destruction massive des bâtiments causés par des torrents. Au marché BUEA Town, par exemple, la route a été divisée. Un bilan similaire est observé dans les autres quartiers affectés. En plus des maisons et des boutiques, bon nombre de voitures sont restées coincées pendant plusieurs heures à cause de cette catastrophe. La clôture du nouveau bâtiment du siège de l'église presbytérienne camerounaise s'est détruite. Les propriétaires des maisons et boutiques absents lors de l'incident essayent de sauver ce qui reste. Les autorités locales, au rang desquelles le maire de la ville de BUEA, David Mafani Namangue, a visité les lieux inondés et des actions ont été posées pour libérer les déchets afin de permettre aux véhicules et piétons de circuler à nouveau. Des populations blessées ont reçu une assistance médicale.
Merci beaucoup Linda Ngali du Sud-Ouest, CRTV Sud-Ouest, qui nous a planté le décor de tout ce qui s'est passé hier en termes d'inondation. On retient que 2 enfants sont dans un état critique. On parle d'un mort sous réserve de confirmation des autorités administratives. Il y a également des dégâts matériels importants qui ont été enregistrés. On va voir ce matin comment est-ce que la ville s'est réveillée. Nous vous l'avons dit, il y a un résident avec qui nous allons rentrer en contact. Il se trouve en ce moment du côté du centre-ville de BUEA. Il va nous dire exactement où il se trouve et qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment. Bonjour à vous et bienvenue sur CRTV News.
Bonjour à vos téléspectateurs. Et à l'instant, je suis au niveau de Bondouma, entre Great Sopor et Bondouma, c'est-à-dire à l'entrée de Tampi.
Alors, que s'est-il passé exactement? Nous savons très bien que ces inondations sont arrivées à l'issue d'une pluie torrentielle qui a conduit à tout ce qui est arrivé. Comment est-ce que tout cela s'est passé hier?
Je fais un peu explicite en anglais. Je ne sais pas si je peux...
D'accord, il n'y a pas de problème.
Okay. Yes, I think the runoff from yesterday, I want to take us back to late November 2022, when the mayor of BUEA and his team were out on the street of BUEA destroying structures that were built along the waterways. I think where these destructions were effective by the mayor of BUEA last year was around the GRA area where people had constructed their gates and structures along the waterway. So they are with water.
Kavino Walang?
Please.
Yeah, we know this same situation occurred last year, precisely July 9, 2022. That was in Mutengene.
Yeah.
The same situation where we had flash floods caused by heavy downpour, where that it actually blocked the traffic along that stretch of road leading up to Douala. Now, let's talk about BUEA. Could it be, from your findings, you know BUEA is at the slope of the mountain. We know that BUEA is one of the cleanest towns in the country, you know, due to the drainage system and so on and so forth. What do you think could really be the main cause? Because to many, it's unheard of.
Exactly where I was driving at, because even before it happened in Dimanche last year, previous years it had happened in BUEA before. So I think these measures that the mayor was taking was towards preventing such. But it's very unfortunate that the downpour yesterday was quite too heavy, and it caused a few incidents, especially around the BUEA town neighborhood here in BUEA. And even the water that ran through still, but Yongo, that is after Muya, equally caused a few damages because they had runoffs into people's houses. But the effects are quite enormous around BUEA town because it destroyed structures, carried away vehicles, and there were equally loss of human life. Two so far that have been recorded.
Yeah.
There are a few persons that are still to be confirmed, because talking to some parents in BUEA town, said there are a few persons missing that are yet to confirm if they were affected by the runoffs or they are in some other place. So we are yet to confirm that particular information.
Can we know the present atmosphere that reigns in BUEA this moment, and what are the authorities, the mayor of that city, and of course the governor and other administrative authorities, what are they doing this Sunday afternoon?
Yes, at the moment, a few people, I know a lot of people who didn't go to church this morning like they had planned to go to church. A lot of them are in their houses cleaning, because some people, the water ran into their houses and the water was muddy. So a lot of people I passed this morning when I came back from church. You know, most part of BUEA has not been affected. The part that is affected mostly is the BUEA town area.
Yeah.
Yes, and maybe Munya, since from BUEA town it goes right down, it passes through some of the gutters that we have all across the town. But in Munya, they have very limited drainage system. So most of the people affected are either in BUEA town and in some areas where the mud flooded their areas. I was passing around Biaka Junction, around the VC board. I saw a wedding shop that has completely been drowned in mud. I'm sure those who have these places will only discover when they come to their shop, maybe tomorrow or on Tuesday.
Yeah, and then the transport circulation of vehicles in BUEA town. Yesterday we saw the images, so we are still seeing them presently. Vehicles had to stop, and others were even, swimming in the heavy floods.
I cannot confirm that at the moment, since I've not. But I think so far everything got back to normal as the general life. But those who were particularly affected, maybe still in pain and still in the whole process. But generally, the town of BUEA, circulation is going on smoothly, and vehicles are circulating.
And from the patches of deaths littered everywhere on the street, from what our images are telling us from BUEA, that alone says that the waste management company, Hisakam, who has a lot of work to do for cleanup.
Exactly. Hisakam, obviously, when it's the start of the week, they always have a lot to do, because they you hardly see them around during the weekend. So I think they are aware of that reality, and they're probably getting themselves ready ahead of that task when the week opens up.
Okay, thank you very much. I thank you very much, Kavino Walang. We thank you for your contribution, and probably we were looking forward in the days ahead for environmentalists and probably disaster management officials to tell us the exact cause. Katitoulou.
Voilà, c'était donc l'un des résidents de la ville de BUEA qui nous a un peu situé sur l'atmosphère de ce matin parce que, vous le savez peut-être pas, mais hier il y avait une véritable psychose dans la ville de BUEA à la suite de ce qui s'est passé. Il y a eu beaucoup d'interprétations, mais pour l'instant, ce que l'on sait, c'est que ces inondations sont consécutives uniquement à la pluie torrentielle qui s'est abattue sur la capitale régionale du sud-ouest. Et comme vous l'avez vu en image, les crues sont en train de baisser. Le trafic reprend progressivement. Et en ce moment où nous vous parlons, les autorités administratives autour du gouverneur de la région du sud-ouest, Bernard Okaliabilai, sont en train de tenir une réunion pour trouver des solutions afin de sortir de cette crise. Parce que, comme vous l'imaginez bien, la ville sera un tout petit peu paralysée par ces déchets. Le trafic ne peut pas être aussi fluide que d'habitude. Donc, l'organisation mise en place par les autorités nous sera communiquée au fur et à mesure que les choses vont évoluer. À BUEA Town, précisément, nos correspondants sont sur place pour vivre un peu l'ambiance depuis ce matin. Stéphane Talla est à BUEA Town, où il s'est rapproché des populations sinistrées. Il va nous dire exactement comment est-ce qu'on s'est réveillé dans cette partie de la ville ce matin. Stéphane, bonjour.
Bonjour Yaoundé, nous sommes ici au marché de BUEA Town. C'est la localité la plus affectée par les inondations causées par la forte pluie d'hier dans la ville de BUEA. Les populations n'ont pas dormi et ce matin, elles sont sorties encore plus nombreuses en compagnie des agents de la mairie et procèdent actuellement au dégagement de la piste. Il y a également les commerçants de ce marché qui sont sortis nombreux ce matin pour pouvoir essayer de sortir quelques marchandises qui n'ont pas été emportées par les eaux. Vous constatez juste derrière moi qu'un périmètre de sécurité a donc été installé pour empêcher aux véhicules de passer, mais la circulation a été rétablie dans certains axes qui étaient bloqués hier. Mais de ce côté, aucune voiture ne passe, uniquement les gros engins qui procèdent au dégagement, qui procèdent justement, qui aident justement à transporter les débris qui ont été dégagés de la route. Il faut dire que le gouverneur de la région du sud-ouest, Bernard Okaliabilai, procède actuellement il tient une réunion de sécurité avec les acteurs principaux, notamment ceux de la commune et d'autres personnes qui s'occupent de l'urbanisme. Il y a également le maire qui a annoncé ce matin des mesures très fortes pour se rassurer que les règles d'urbanisation soient respectées après ce drame qui a fait déjà un peu plus d'un mois, déjà 2 morts et quelques blessés qui sont sous soins dans un centre de santé de la place. En direct de BUEA Town pour la CRTV, Stéphane Talla.
Well, thank you very much, Stéphane Talla. Just confirmed there, he is, of course, our correspondent from BUEA. 2 recorded death this far after yesterday's unfortunate incident. We will be going back to BUEA this time to take Henry McCauley in the English language after the avalanche of yesterday where heavy torrential rain washed through the town of BUEA. If Henry McCauley is ready. Hello, Henry. Can we get the latest from BUEA? These are.
Good morning and welcome to BUEA, to be more precise, to BUEA Town, which is the epicenter of the damage. This is where the massive destruction actually took place. Here in BUEA Town, the population is actually trying to clean up the mess. They are trying to put their lives together. They are trying to recover whatever thing they can recover. And this with the assistance of council officials who are there. Even the mayor is there. Even the DO of BUEA is also there. The governor is supervising the operations and he has given instructions that everything be done so that lives can come back to normal, so that things can come back to normal. And for now, there is no circulation here in BUEA town. Circulation has been obstructed, but there is circulation in other parts of the town. Circulation has been restored in other parts of the town. There is a crisis meeting that is taking place at the governor's office to see what can be done to handle this situation, not only for today, but also in the future. And from the destruction, the rate of the destruction, it is very clear that it's going to take a lot of time for the people of BUEA to come out of this. This is Henry McCauley reporting live from BUEA town.
Merci beaucoup Henri Mécollet, rédacteur en chef de CRTV dans la région du Sud-Ouest, qui nous parlait du déploiement des autorités administratives, mais également comment est-ce que les commerçants se sont organisés sur place pour essayer de contourner tous les dégâts causés par cette inondation depuis hier soir. Mais on garde bon espoir puisque la circulation Clarence-Gay a été rétablie depuis ce matin. Mais je voudrais quand même rappeler qu'un cas similaire a été enregistré l'année dernière dans la localité de Mutengene, toujours dans la région du Sud-Ouest. Peut-être que les autorités municipales vont nous permettre de comprendre est-ce qu'il y a un problème de canalisation, comme c'est parfois le cas dans les grandes métropoles, dans les villes tout simplement. Que se passe-t-il exactement pour que... En tout cas, les inondations même existent partout dans le monde. Il y a véritablement rien d'extraordinaire. Mais le plus important, c'est peut-être l'accompagnement des sinistrés et des victimes juste après le sinistre pour que les dégâts ne soient pas encore plus importants qu'ils ne le soient déjà.
Yes, that's why I keep on saying it's an unfortunate situation. We know last year it occurred in Mutengene. Few dead, many homes were destroyed. The same situation is occurring against in Fako division of the Southwest region in BUEA. That was yesterday. If I have to take from what Stefan Tala and Henry McCauley said, that there is a crisis meeting with the governor of the Southwest region, Benau Kalabila. I think the urgency of that meeting should probably be those who have lost their lives too already, and the huge destruction that the flood has caused. So why waiting to have reactions, Katitulu, from residents of BUEA? I think there's already indication from our editing booth that we should go for the reactions. But before we have that, I think what is presently happening in the Southwest region, we know is climate change is around, it's affecting most part of
oui, exactement.
the continent.
Les changements climatiques affectent toutes les villes du monde entier. Ce n'est pas le fait du Cameroun, ce n'est pas le fait de la ville de BUEA, mais en tout cas, quelques résidents ont réagi à ce qui s'est passé hier. Je vous propose de les écouter.
And go to the house. Then I noticed that there were a lot of water there. Taxi was not even able to pass. They had to drop us and they had to use another path to struggle and come to the house. Unfortunately, when I went there, it was still the same thing. I had to wait until the water reduces before I went back to the house. It was really, really disastrous because so many people, it even almost carried one man like that. The man was struggling to cross and he fell inside. With God, there were one stone inside and then he struggled and hold the stone before he possibly made it and came outside.
Which part was that?
Around Bunuma Gate, towards Bunuma, in the entrance going to BUEA village. Yeah, so that was where I saw it.
Did you also witness it, you?
No, please drop. Thank you.
From BUEA town. You see this water from the mountain, they have their track from the mountain right down at the Mutengene Tiko. The people have now get to in town and they have blocked the waterway. That's because it's causing all these things. So the government, the council, they should see into those problems. So I think it will be some way helpful. As a DC boss, what I saw, it was terrible. People were stuck. Everybody was back and the police post around there was full of water. Everywhere water. So we are waiting for the government to see the problem here in BUEA.
Was it the first time you were saying this, bro?
It's not the first time. Well, it's one of the story. These things, people neglect. People neglect that. What they will never see this type of a thing. And I said, well, us here in BUEA, we know these things. It has been happening. But because of the population here in BUEA now, people neglect all those sort of things.
Alors Clarence Gay, en suivant ces deux réactions, on pense bien qu'on est passé quand même à côté de la psychose. On voit des sinistrés un peu détendus.
Yes, if I follow keenly from what the two residents of BUEA said. The last one, the man just said the waterways from the mountain, the channels were blocked, so the water didn't have the right access, to channel themselves to the direction they used to go. That's why the town had to be inundated due to the heavy rains of yesterday. We cannot really say per se that it is a climate change, even though disasters like that are always linked to climate change. Well, after getting the reaction of those two residents, let's find out what the mayor of BUEA, the city of BUEA, Barrister David Mafani Namangue, has to say following yesterday's occurrence. Let's follow.
Le bilan, pour le moment, je peux dire que c'est un peu lourd parce que nous avons eu à perdre des vies humaines. Et à l'heure où nous parlons, nous avons 4 personnes confirmées être hospitalisées. Et c'est par la grâce de Dieu que ça s'est passé dans la journée et pas dans la nuit. En plus, il y a tellement de destruction de biens, comme par exemple le siège de l'église presbytérienne du Cameroun. Il y a aussi des voitures qui ont été apportées par le cours d'eau et beaucoup de dégâts. Il y a un investissement que la commune avait fait pour l'alimentation de l'eau à BUEA Town. Ça a déduit ça, les premières évaluations de ça seulement pour 50 millions. Donc nous sommes en train de regarder, on ne peut pas vous donner, nous sommes en train de mettre des propriétés pour l'instant. Donc nous ne savons pas, mais son excellence le gouverneur nous a convié à une réunion de crise. C'est sûr qu'après la réunion, là, on pouvait avoir des choses un peu plus détaillées et un peu plus claires.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe depuis hier que c'est arrivé?
Depuis hier que c'est arrivé, premièrement, la population sous notre directive sont sortis comme un seul homme et on travaille depuis pour mettre. D'ailleurs, c'est à travers ça qu'on avait découvert un cadavre dans un endroit où on croyait que c'était un petit bois, pourtant c'était le pied d'un enfant. Et après, on a eu l'autre. Donc, depuis ça, on a commencé d'abord à mettre un peu de propriété. Après ces propriétés, on a continué jusqu'à ce matin et nous sommes tous sur le terrain. Je profite de cette occasion pour dire mes remerciements à l'administration et surtout au directeur général de Solida qui nous a aussi sitôt appelé à envoyer un engin pour nous aider. La commune a loué un engin aussi pour travailler avec et le directeur des ACAM de BUEA a fait venir les camions des ACAM. Donc nous travaillons ensemble. Il y a même les gens de la Croix-Rouge qui sont venus aussi. Donc toute la population et je tiens aussi à remercier tous ces mondes qui nous ont appelés. Les ministres, les maires des autres villes, la population, les gens qui nous appellent, des étrangers. Mais nous voudrons dire aux gens qu'il faut aussi pas suivre tout ce que les gens mettent.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, now we see the population of BUEA. They started the cleaning up process and all of that. What are you doing now to clean up the process?
Yes, thank you. May I start by saying that we are very touched by what happened. It's something that we have been seeing the flow of these streams, but not at this level. And so you can see that the destruction has been very, very high. And we have lost 2 lives. One from Yangamele storm flow and the other one from Koke around Bova. And then we have, as of now, 4 people in the hospital. We equally have a lot of destruction of property. Vehicles which were carried by the storm, about 6 in number, 3 in BUEA Town, 2 around Synod office, and 1 around the Dios residence towards the court. The destruction of buildings like the courtyard of the Synod office, Synod head office, and other houses and businesses in BUEA town. I want to thank the population which came out as one man to clean the place we have started. I want to thank administration, the divisional officer of BUEA, the senior divisional officer of FACO, and the governor of the Southwest region, and all others who have come out, including chiefs and councillors. We are thankful to them. As I said, the population has been wonderful. I want to thank the director, the manager of Izakam, and the Director General of Sureda, who equally made available a front head loader, even though the council hired another one. So we have started with cleaning up, because just the seawall that came down blocked some of the major roads in the town. We are now removing those ones. We started yesterday and got into the night doing that, but we have continued this morning to clean and open up the roads, and the cleaning will take a little bit of a time because the debris are quite enormous.
Mr. Mayor, where do we move from here? What is the next process after this?
Yeah, it speaks for itself. You know, the BUEA Council, we started opening up waterways, and we have told people that for those of us who go here, we know some major waterways like that of Nyangamele, Iname, and that of Koke, to name a few, even Musole. When they come down, at times it can take 2, 3, 4 years before they come again, but the disasters are always huge. And our parents and forefathers left and allowed.
Maître David Mafani, maire de la commune de BUEA, qui s'est exprimé après le sinistre qui a touché la ville hier soir à la suite des inondations. Clarence Gay, ce qu'on remarque quand même, c'est cette forte mobilisation de la communauté nationale dans le sud-ouest. Il a parlé des aides qui viennent un peu de partout, parce que lorsqu'on évalue le premier bilan, il a évoqué la somme de 50 millions. Ça veut dire que c'est une ville qui sera encore en train d'être reconstruite à la suite de ce qui vient de se passer. Mais cette symbiose-là, qui implique également la population, qui aide depuis le matin à débarrasser les déchets issus des ménages, mais également tous les résidus qui viennent de la montagne et des monts environnants. C'est vraiment remarquable quand même. Alors, à la suite de cette rencontre présidée par le gouverneur, certainement, on aura d'autres pistes d'orientation, de comment est-ce que l'accompagnement sera fait, non seulement pour ces personnes qui sont en ce moment dans les hôpitaux, qui sont blessées, parce que, comme vous pouvez l'imaginer, la furie des eaux a entraîné quelques légers éboulements, mais également des poteaux qui se sont affaissés de part et d'autre sur les lieux d'habitation et sur les domiciles.
Yeah, actually, we know from what the mayor said, there's a huge mobilization. They have already embarked on making sure that they clear the debris from the streets of BUEA after that heavy floods. BUEA, the inhabitants of BUEA are not really, surprised when such incidents occur like that. We got the residents, a few reactions that it's not the first time such a situation is happening. We can even take our mind back to the Mount Cameroon eruption in 1999 or so, if I'm not making a mistake, where it was a huge, natural disaster like the one of yesterday. So the town of BUEA is not really that in panic, where others, of which others may be having that feeling that there's a situation. But the inundation or the floods have caused disorders. You can find in the images there. We have runoffs from the mountain. I always record for those who have not, been to BUEA yet, that BUEA is at the slope of the mountains. Okay, we'll be taking a call from BUEA. I think Larry Fande is on standby. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Clarence. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Larry.
Good morning, Clarence.
Yes, we know of the present situation of the floods in BUEA. Any major incident after that occurrence of yesterday? We are told that there's a crisis meeting ongoing. Are you at the governor's office? Are you at the mayor's office? Can we know your present situation and the present state of BUEA at this moment?
Yes, Clarence, it's a sad day. One can see the heavens broke loose, releasing an ocean down here in the capital city of the region. We had flash floods yesterday after, I think, the third rains of the season occurred. And according to authorities, 2 lives were lost. One at the Nangamene storm floods, and the other around Koke, for those who know the surroundings here in BUEA. Like you must have already mentioned, 4 people are hospitalized, 6 vehicles were carried by the storms, 3 around BUEA town, 2 around the head office of the Presidential Church in Cameroon, that's the Synod compound, and 1 around the Dios residence near the court. Like you mentioned again earlier, it's not strange. We have waterways in BUEA. There are many, about 4 waterways. We have the Nyangamene waterway, we have Inamem, Sole, and Koke. So each time the locals here have been witnessing, let me say, storm floods. Let me say once in 5 years, once in 10 years. So it's been occurring. The last time we had this was on the 24th of March 2020, which we had almost a similar effect. It's like 3 years back. 24th of March 2020. And just last year in November, the mayor started clearing some of these waterways. He went to federal quarters. He went to other neighborhoods where the waterways have been occupied by some residents to demolish these houses because, you know, water must always find its way to flow. So if it's tough, it's blocked, it must find its way. It's that it pulls down what is obstructing its flow, or it meanders through neighboring parts. Cleanup is already on the way. You know, the water came down from this eastern slope of the mountain, pulling along its path. We have debris from the mountain, seaward, other things which have occupied the main trajectory of the road from the governor's roundabout towards BUEA town. So the garbage truck disposal company in the town is trying to clean up the path. And those who sustain lots of damages are trying to see how they can put themselves together to pick up the few things they can recollect from the damage that occurred yesterday. Well, from here, the mayor says they are going to continue sensitization, especially those who are just relocating to BUEA. You know, BUEA has recently become the most popular city in the English-speaking part of the country. So there are lots. We have the influx of people. Population has more than doubled for the past 2 years. So people are constructing in places which before the locals wouldn't, because they understood the waterways of the town. So more sensitization is going on, and I'm sure the waterways will be cleared. I'm sure if your memory does some justice, you can vividly remember that 3 years back we had something similar, that the entire streets with dark water that came down, social media inundated with speculations of eruption, which wasn't the case. It was just flash floods due to heavy rains. And it's just I'm sure the third downfall we're having in BUEA for the season. We didn't have this last year. We didn't have this 2 years back. It was 2020 that we had the most recent flash floods here.
Larry?
Yes, Clarence?
Yeah, before PATYCHOU gets to you for a question, let me find out, have you talked to any environmentalist, any disaster management official in BUEA?
Yes, we talked to the regional delegate of scientific research and innovation, who is a geologist, who says it's a natural phenomenon that the mountain has, due to the frequent eruption, it has some crater lakes or some holes there. So when it rains heavily, those crater lakes or those valleys are filled up, and they run off. And since it's a slope, it runs down and picks everything on its path. Now, he explained that sometimes that water looks oily. The water looks like it has carried on its path some minerals. But he says people farm along the slopes. So sometimes there's this bush farming. So the ash from the fires which were made in the farms, the water carries it. Now it becomes oily because of the presence of the ash in the water. So he says it's a normal. The geologist, who happens to be an indigenous of the area, to say it's a normal phenomenon for those who have been living here, but the waterways were always cleared and water is to channel itself through right up to Mutengene. If you know the place, the entire subdivision properly, it will channel its way up through to Mutengene without necessarily destroying homes as it is now or as has been recently. Before, when the waters would come in one of these waterways, which I mentioned earlier, it's like it comes through the Nyangamene, the Koke, the Iname, the Musole. When it comes, it carries crops from the mountain slopes, and afterwards, people go and pick, maybe it will bring firewood, it will bring plantains along it, and when it's dry, people go there and pick it up. And for some, they used to see it like a gift from a supermoto, but that's unverified.
Larry Fandé.
Oui, Cathy.
Alors, BUEA Town semble être la zone la plus touchée par l'inondation. On l'a vu à travers les images du marché principal, les coulées de boue et ces commerçants qui se lamentent. Quelles ont été les premières réactions des autorités pour rassurer ces commerçants qui, évidemment, ont besoin de vaquer à leurs occupations depuis ce matin?
Yes, it was really, BUEA Town is the immediate neighborhood at the slopes of the mountains. You can see, I think, along the eastern slope. There are other communities. The BUEA Town is the immediate, and from there you go to Upper Farms, and thereafter you're already in the forest belt that gets the hill. So the authorities were there this morning, the DO, the mayor, and other authorities, to clear the path. The markets which you see in the images, some of the shops where, let me say, the frontage has been taken away by the seaward and other huge debris which came and destroyed some frontages. So the mayor has assured that the garbage truck disposal company is already cleaning since yesterday. They cleaned up till late in the night, and they have continued this morning. As we speak, there's a crisis meeting, Kati. The governor and other security elements and others, they're having a crisis meeting which is currently going on to ensure that they see what can be done to maybe mitigate the effect of this flash flood and ensure that when next it occurs, because water will always run down, it should run in the channels which it has been in previous years, Kati.
Okay, Larry?
Yes, Clarence.
Yes, before we leave you in a few minutes, can you tell us because the images our viewers are, watching this moment, someone who has never been to BUEA may feel that BUEA has a poor drainage system. Remember, it's one of the cleanest towns in the country. How can you describe the drainage system in BUEA?
Well, BUEA has, we can say, drainage systems which are okay. But I mean, for normal precipitations, but now the millimeters of the downpour was so much that it made water to run down from a higher surface, from higher peak to come down, and that's why it won't now obey the normal channels which everyday downpour will follow. The normal drainage system. We have drainage systems along the paths. Like you said, it's one of the cleanest towns in the country. But now this is above the average downpour which we had. I'm sure meteorological experts can give us the exact millimeters of downpour we had yesterday, but it's actually above the normal one which we had. So it came with huge velocity. The speed, it is sloping down, it's descending. So the speed was, so it had to break through. Permit me use the word break through, and it discovered that the normal channels could not contain it. Mind you that before now, we have channels which this flash flood always comes down. When I was going as a child here in BUEA in the late 90s, early 2000s, this water always comes down, and when it does, we come out immediately after it's done, and you won't find casualty, or we just rush out to go and fetch maybe the firewood and the plantains or whatever crops it came with from the mountain slopes. But now, with urbanization, constructions, and that's why the mayor is saying that he's on an offensive to ensure that houses built on this storm path or this, let me say, these waterways are demolished for the safety of the occupants and also for the safety of the entire community at large. BUEA has a good drainage system.
Okay, so it shows that Katitulu, BUEA is going to be receiving, I think, V-Prop, Every day, yeah, beginning from today.
Et maintenant, il y aura beaucoup à faire lorsqu'on regarde les décombres qui se sont emparés du marché principal de BUEA Town. On imagine que beaucoup reste à faire. En tout cas, on compte sur la diligence des autorités administratives qui se concertent depuis le matin pour trouver des solutions rapides afin de permettre non seulement à ces commerçants de vaquer à leurs occupations, mais également à la population tout entière de faire définitivement passer la psychose. On n'a pas beaucoup d'informations, Clarence, sur ces personnes qui sont hospitalisées, ces personnes qui sont blessées à l'issue de ce qui s'est passé. On espère que progressivement, on nous donnera des nouvelles de ces personnes, de ces sinistrés.
Yeah, Kati, indication that we should go back to Larry Efande. Unfortunately, we lost communication. I think he's still online. At least to say, Larry Efande, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that contribution. I don't know if Larry Efande is still online.
Yes, you're welcome, Clarence. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we really do appreciate the insight from BUEA. Of course, you are an Indigen from BUEA. We thank you very much. You mastered the town, and your insights were very rich. Of course, our viewers must have learned so many from your contribution.
Thank you, Clarence. Thank you, Kati.
All right.
Yeah, Kati Tulu, we understand that there is a crisis meeting, and probably before the day runs out, we'll be having the outcomes of what the authorities of BUEA must have brought out. One would believe that we also have some experts when it comes to climate change and the environment.
En tout cas, depuis ce matin, BUEA va connaître des perturbations sur le plan de son organisation interne au niveau de la municipalité, mais également sur le plan administratif. Donc la population est vraiment certainement appelée à être un peu indulgente parce que tout sera perturbé. On n'a pas encore eu la réaction du gouverneur de la région du Sud-Ouest. Il en dira un peu plus pour tranquilliser toutes ces personnes-là qui ont été touchées par les affres de cette inondation.
Yeah, of course. I think it's time for us to go back to yesterday's occurrence. We're taking the story of Henry McCauley, who we just had a while ago. He was on the scene when the incident occurred. Let's get his report about what happened. Of course, it is a very fresh story from yesterday. Let's have it.
Neighborhoods like BUEA Town, Babuti, Bonalionga, Moliko, Bondoma, and Munya were seriously affected by the flood. There is massive destruction caused by the flood waters believed to be coming from the craters up the mountain. At the BUEA Town market, for example, the road was cut off, shops and houses flooded by the black muddy water from the mountain. This is the same situation with other affected neighborhoods. Apart from houses and shops, a good number of vehicles were ruffled by the flood. One of the newest buildings in town, the Synod office of the PCC, was not spared.
So we stand here watching the rain caught before we go. Finally, I want to just turn like this. The wall started shaking.
The wall from the
senior office started shaking. I told my friends, she go back. That wall is shaking.
One of my uncle, Mr. Mboya, is in the hospital. That the water took him, expected in the house. And in my own village in Bova, that one of my little friends in Bova, the water took him along. Yes, they have not yet seen him.
Inhabitants who had left their homes before the incident only returned to a damaged home in some cases. Others are struggling to clean their shops and houses to recover whatever they could. Local authorities, including the mayor of BUEA, Mr. David Mafani Namange, have visited affected areas to clear away the debris for circulation to resume and to assist the population, especially those who have been injured. For now, the construction pattern and the absence of very large gutters, experts argue, are partly responsible for the flood. From the damage witnessed, the population of BUEA will take months, if not years, to recover from the shock and trauma caused by the flood.
Well, thank you very much, Henry McCauley. That was a reporting yesterday when the incident occurred after heavy rains. Well, Kati Tulu, why waiting on the maybe, like I did announce at the very beginning of the program, we will probably be having the reaction of the governor, if it will be possible. But while waiting for that, I think we should really talk about these natural disasters that is happening almost everywhere across the country. Recently, it was Cyclone Freddy in Malawi. As we speak, 200 persons have been confirmed dead, and the rescue team, search team, are still searching for bodies.
Mais également au Brésil, le Brésil qui a été touché par des inondations également.
I think if you want to compare to other countries following the occurrences of natural disaster, you see Cameroun, notre pays est béni quand même.
Exactement. Yeah. Et je pense que le plus important, c'est la riposte. C'est comment on réagit après avoir été victime d'un pareil sinistre. Et je vois que la mobilisation est vraiment à la hauteur de ce qui s'est passé hier. Puis si on se réfère aux propos du maire de la commune de BUEA, on se rend compte que personne n'a croisé les bras. Les populations elles-mêmes ont pris leur destin en main et ont commencé à débarrasser progressivement les débris qui ont encombré le marché de BUEA Town, qui est l'un des bastions de cette inondation. Mais je me demande bien, Clarence Gay, est-ce qu'on est à l'abri d'autres inondations, puisque nous sommes de plein pied dans la saison des pluies? Parce que également ici à Yaoundé, c'est le cas depuis quelques jours.
Well, Katitulo, we know that every year in and out, we have, these disasters. In Yaoundé, let's begin in Yaoundé. We know the different quarters in Yaoundé where the quarters, inhabitants of these quarters are always victims when it comes to floods, when we have heavy downpour. I do not want to list them. Talking about the economic capital, Douala, of course, it is a flat, has a flat surface. Talking about Limbe, also still in the Fako, in the maritime zone, where it's closer to the sea, à côté de la mer. So with heavy rains, like what Larry was saying, when these heavy rains fall, the volume of water, rises up, and of course it flush or go over the banks of the water or the river, or depends where the locality is found. But in the case of BUEA, it's a slope, so it is because of what the mayor was explaining there, that the water running down from the mountains were not well channeled, or they were blocked, so the channels were blocked, so it had to go out of control.
On aura l'occasion d'avoir des précisions peut-être dans les prochains jours des experts sur le climat et sur l'environnement pour comprendre ces phénomènes qui sont de plus en plus récurrents dans le monde entier. Le Cameroun n'est pas en marge de ces réalités et comme je le disais, la crainte c'est que de tels événements remontent en surface, mais de toute façon des événements pareils permettent de réorganiser peut-être le système de canalisation de certaines villes. Et comment est-ce que la voirie urbaine va se reconstituer et va se reconstruire après ce sinistre qui coûte déjà des millions de francs CFA. Ça ce n'est qu'une fine partie, une infime partie de ce qui sera fait, parce que dans les prochains jours, on aura le bilan réel en ce qui concerne les dégâts matériels. Maintenant, le bilan humain fait état de 2 morts. Vraiment, c'est triste pour ces familles qui ne s'attendaient pas à ça et qui n'ont peut-être pas pris des mesures pour aller peut-être à l'encontre de ce qui est de ce qui s'est passé depuis hier. Et ces personnes qui sont dans les hôpitaux, on espère qu'elles vont recouvrer très rapidement la santé. Mais en attendant, la ville se mobilise comme elle peut. Et le maire le disait tout à l'heure, les aides sont attendues de part et d'autre en termes de riposte et de réaction à la suite de ces inondations.
Well, when these disasters occur like this, first of all, one can always imagine the material damage it causes, and of course the financial consequences. The mayor just talked of 50 million francs CFA that needs to be put in place in order, to put things back to normal. Like I made mention of Malawi a few minutes ago. The government of Malawi, the president, is already soliciting for, foreign aid to bring back its country, to its normal state. But I think what our viewers need to understand is that, Kati, it's not really the money that, will solve the problem of this disaster that occur here and there. It is natural. That's what we call natural disaster, so they will always occur.
We
definitely, we know of Far North region suffered several situations like this.
Voilà, pour ne pas vous couper, Clarence, on voit comment la population s'est mobilisée. Ce monsieur qu'on essaye d'extirper des eaux, c'est véritablement remarquable et ce sont des réactions comme celle-ci qui sont attendues lorsqu'il y a des sinistres. Je ne vois pas encore la Croix-Rouge. Peut-être que nos correspondants n'ont pas posé l'œil de la caméra sur les actions de la Croix-Rouge, mais en général, elle est très sollicitée lorsqu'il y a ce genre de sinistre.
Yeah, and Kati, we shouldn't forget to talk about when you see floods, runoffs like this, muddy, dirty, stinky, what comes to your mind? La santé, health. We are afraid of a disease like cholera.
Ah d'accord,
like
oui, effectivement, les inondations comme celle-ci entraînent généralement les épidémies. On a eu des cas comme ça dans la région du Nord en 2012 où les inondations de Maga ont entraîné la résurgence du choléra. On espère que ça ne sera pas le cas. On espère véritablement puisque le danger a été circonscrit, même si c'est bien visible que beaucoup de choses restent encore à faire, les dégâts matériels qui sont importants. Et ces commerçants qui se lamentaient, on a vu une dame en image qui se demandait comment est-ce que la suite va se dérouler. De toute façon, le gouverneur de la région du Sud-Ouest, Bernard Okaliabila, il donnera des réponses à tout ce questionnement.
But I think it's the administrators of BUEA, the authorities, and of course the population need to thank God. Why? Because it is just at the beginning of the rainy season. This is just an eye-opener. This is just an indication that concrete measures should be taken before we get into the heart of the rainy season. And imagine when we are in the heart of the rainy season, cities like Douala, with its flat surface, we have quarters that suffer. Or neighborhoods in Douala that suffer a lot from floods. I think it's somehow a mixed blessing for the people of BUEA Katitulu.
Exactement, et nous souhaitons vraiment que cette situation ne puisse pas perdurer parce que vous savez très bien, cela entraîne généralement des psychoses et lorsque la psychose est généralisée, on commence à perdre l'objectivité. De toute façon, c'est une catastrophe naturelle. C'est une catastrophe naturelle qui existe partout dans le monde. La ville de BUEA n'est pas épargnée de cette réalité. Comme je le disais il y a un instant, la saison de pluie a bel et bien démarré, même dans la ville de Yaoundé. Donc peut-être qu'il faut anticiper sur ce genre de situation beaucoup plus. Je ne sais pas si c'est possible parce que même dans les pays développés, on voit qu'ils sont pris d'assaut par des inondations de ce genre. Mais je me demande bien, est-ce qu'on ne peut pas anticiper ou alors tout simplement, comme on en parlait avec Larry Fender, revoir les systèmes de canalisation. De toute façon, on ne va pas réfléchir à la place des autorités administratives qui sont à pied d'œuvre depuis ce matin à la suite de ces inondations.
Well, we talk about Malawi. Let's even talk about a country like the United States of America that suffers from natural disasters, torrential rains every now and then, especially during the rainy season when the rains are heavy. Also, we're talking about when during the winter season in the north of America, or in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, this between the month of October and November 2022, getting to the end of 2022, America suffered a lot from natural disasters where a good number of lives were lost. Well, that's a world power. So if a country, big country like America and other big countries in the world, experience and are still struggling to, get concrete measures on how to solve these problems. We have countries that have raised up huge, blockades or walls, to prevent these flash floods from destruction. But you will still see them coming around. So it is normal for you viewers watching or getting what is happening in BUEA. That is just an indication. We may have something worse than that, but what is essential is that when it occurs, good measures should be taken in order to, solve the situation at Titulu.
Voilà, Clarence Gué, c'était donc le point de tout ce qui s'est passé, de ce sinistre qui s'est emparé de la ville de BUEA, ces inondations qui ont été consécutives à la pluie torrentielle qui s'est abattue sur la capitale régionale du Sud-Ouest dans la nuit d'hier, 18 mars 2023. Nous allons remercier l'ensemble de nos correspondants qui nous ont accompagnés tout au long de ce programme spécial qui a permis de faire le point de cette situation. Stéphane Talla, Henri Mécollet, Larry et Fandem, merci beaucoup de votre contribution et des contributions également qui sont attendues pour les prochaines éditions de journaux sur CRTV et CRTV News. Vous aurez le follow-up, évidemment la suite en temps réel de tout ce qui se passe en ce moment dans la ville de BUEA, dans la région du Sud-Ouest, à l'issue de cette concertation des autorités administratives autour du gouverneur de la région du Sud-Ouest, Bernard Okalia Bilay. Depuis ce matin, on en saura un peu plus sur l'évaluation des dégâts matériels, mais encore plus de la situation de ces blessés qui sont en ce moment dans les centres hospitaliers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this year we have come to the end of this special edition on the floods that hit the town of BUEA. Like I did announce, we were supposed to have the governor of the Southwest region, but we didn't have him. We'll be having him in our subsequent newscast. Of course, there is a crisis meeting ongoing, so our subsequent news edition, as the day runs out, we're going to have more reactions, and of course that of the governor from the Southwest region. Thank you for being there. Do have a wonderful time. We want to thank all the technical team that stood behind the success of this special edition this Sunday afternoon. Do have a wonderful time. Good afternoon and have a nice Sunday.
Bon après-midi à vous, Clarence Ngué. Bon après-midi. Tout de suite, le journal de 12h.